Hi guys, and welcome back to the Rare Record Room, and a big hello to any new viewers. This is where I share with you some of the records I've collected over the last 40 years or so. These range from 1950s rock and roll right up to the Britpop era of the 1990s. They're mostly United Kingdom pressings on all manner of labels, including the big mainstream companies like EMI, RCA and Decca, through to the smaller collectible subsidiaries such as Vertigo, DRAM, Blue Horizon, Immediate and EMI's Harvest and Apple labels. I hope you'll find these episodes interesting and informative. If that's the case, why not give us a like and take a look at some of my other record collecting videos. Thank you. In today's episode I shall be looking at one of my rarest Rolling Stones pieces and one of the most treasured LPs in my collection, which is the scarce mono test pressing of the Stones' second studio album, simply titled The Rolling Stones No.2. I have already covered the history, content and retail UK copies of this record in a separate documentary video, and for anyone interested in the background of the LP I would recommend you take a look at this. The album was produced over 5 recording sessions, firstly in June 1964 at Chicago's Chess Studios, then during 2 sessions held in London in September, then at RCA Hollywood on the 2nd of November, and finally back to Chicago on the 8th of November. The US sections coincided with the band's first and second tours of North America in the summer and fall of 1964. It was produced by the Stones' ambitious 20-year-old manager Andrew Oldham. The printed production credit appears as Impact Sound, which was the production company set up by Oldham and the Stones' more experienced original manager Eric Easton. The record engineers were Ron Marlowe in Chicago, Bill Farley at Regent Sound London and RCA technician Dave Hassinger. This test pressing, factory sample, was pressed in London shortly before the official UK release date of the 15th of January 1965. The LP was issued in mono only. This sample manufactured in England as stated on the label at the 12 o'clock position. Although there is no mention of the record company on this label, it was certainly pressed by Decca, as identified by their characteristic pressing ring about 15mm from the outer edge. The rim text is an all rights reserved notice. The sample label is purely functional rather than aesthetic, being printed with a simple black text on a plain light blue background, with a large blank space below, intended for the details to be typed or handwritten. These Decca sample labels also feature a distinctive series of short black lines repeated around the outer rim. Other similar versions of the Decca sample label are noted in lilac or in pink, and more often with a 2-colour background combining the pink and light blue colours. All of these have in common the striking repeated line motif around the rim. Apart from the generic text printed on the label of my copy, side 1 also has the LP title handwritten in blue ink, together with the record's matrix number and catalogue number. The catalogue and matrix numbers are also written on side 2. The matrices are stamped in the usual position within the dead wax area, with the numbers shown here, both sides featuring the earliest 1A suffix. Only a handful of these Decca samples would have been produced for each LP and should not be confused with promotional copies of the finished album, which usually appear with a plain white label or the more polished final label design, bearing a factory sample sticker intended for radio play and sales reps in order to promote the record. These test pressing samples were meant to be used for review purposes and carry a clear printed notice stating that the pressing is not necessarily representative of the finished record. Some Decca test pressings were housed in a generic plain company sleeve with boxed sections to the rear to be typed out or handwritten with the details of the contents. This particular copy is housed in the finished record sleeve, which is a flip-back version printed and manufactured by James Upton Limited of Birmingham and London, with the controversial blind man text intact. This copy is accompanied by a rather nice signed letter from the record specialist who supplied it. The inner bag for this example is a standard company die-cut paper type, printed with handling and playing instructions in a purple ink with a polythene liner. The open edge of the bag was originally sealed with a folded over gummed label with sample text printed in red and a copyright warning in black. To the right corner, the matrix numbers are written in ballpoint in the same hand as the details written on the record label. Such records were not commercially available and are now rather difficult to value. The standard copy of the album is listed at £200 in the Rare Record Price Guide, and I would conservatively estimate that these test pressings are worth a good deal more. And that brings to a close my brief look at the original test pressing factory sample of the Rolling Stones No.2 LP. That's your lot for this episode from the Rare Record Room. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did like the video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel to see more and to receive notifications for any new uploads. Thanks for watching. See you next time.